Insecurities about your singing voice. You even stated that you knew you weren't the vocal favorite of Destiny's Child. Is that something that, what made you second guess?
You know what? It's not that I was second guessing. I'm just aware. You know, some people are like, oh my gosh, it's stuck. They said it stuck with her. No, it didn't stick with me. You know, just sometimes you're aware that you're not everybody's favorite. And that's okay. I still got paid.
Okay.
Yeah, I can challenge Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Psych. That boy's got too much skills for me, buddy. Nope.
You know, we
can rap.
We can flow so well, you know. We're gonna put out Destiny's Child album, Rapology, you know.
Yeah, I can challenge Jay-Z.
Yeah.
Psych. That boy's got too much skills for me, buddy.
Kelly Rowland has always been in the spotlight as the so-called Becky with the good hair. But now, things are looking way messier than just a nickname. A leaked movie has surfaced that allegedly shows Jay-Z getting way too close with Ms. Kelly on camera. And people can't stop talking about it. And here's where it gets wild. Fans are pointing out that Kelly's son, Titan, has an almost mirror-like resemblance to Jay-Z. They're saying the kid looks more like Jay than his supposed father, and that's got everybody side-eyeing the situation. People online are buzzing that something doesn't add up. And honestly, it's looking shady. Think about it. If 2 + 2 = 4 and 5 + 5 = 10, then what exactly are we looking at here? The internet is calling this a straight-up math problem with only one answer, and it spells trouble for Jay-Z. But that's not even the end of it. Some of Kelly's old lyrics, the ones where she seemed low-key jealous of Beyonce, are resurfacing, and fans are convinced she was dropping hints all along. Talk about receipts being dug up at the worst possible time. At first, this all looked like harmless gossip, but things started to spiral when Jay-Z began catching deadbeat dad allegations from kids outside of Beyonce's circle. Now, with Titan's resemblance and this leaked footage, people aren't sure what's fact or fiction anymore, but one thing's clear. This scandal is about to explode.
Sean Carter, that's what she was calling him at first before she was calling it Jay-Z, and I really didn't know who that was because I was young and, you know, had my little brother, and I really wasn't worrying about it. She was saying it a lot, but I really just was going along with the person I was just seeing, like the person I looked at who was taking care of me at that time. I really wasn't really trying to understand what my mom was talking about, but she constantly put it in my head like, son, that's...
Ramir Satterthwaite shot into headlines years back after making a jaw-dropping claim that Jay-Z used his influence to dodge a paternity test that could have proven him to be Ramir's father. Ramir said he first found out about the rumors at just 8 years old, and once he grew up, he made it his mission to chase Jay down for answers, or at least to get that test that could shut the whole thing down once and for all. But here's the catch. Jay-Z allegedly never gave him the time of day. In fact, people claim Jay pulled strings to block court orders that would have forced him to take the test. That's a heavy accusation, and it only made Ramir fight harder to get recognition. Reports say Jay-Z first crossed paths with Ramir's mother, Wanda, way back in 1992. Back then, Jay went by Rock, while Wanda was known in her circle as Carmel, or Precious. They were introduced at a Philadelphia restaurant by Wanda's friend, Keisha Allen, and from there, the story gets messy. Allegedly, Wanda was just 16 at the time, while Jay was 22. According to a 2015 New Jersey court filing, Wanda claimed she and Jay had a short-lived fling that played out at her aunt's Brooklyn apartment. She admitted they used protection, but it supposedly broke during the hookup, and that's when she ended up pregnant. A year later, Jay-Z's face was all over TV, but when Wanda tried to reach out to him, she said he ignored her completely. No calls back, no responsibility taken, nothing. For years, Wanda kept dragging the case through the courts, trying to get Jay to face a paternity test, but every attempt failed. Tragically, Wanda passed away from heart failure in 2019 at only 43 years old. Before that, her health struggles made it hard to take care of Ramir, leaving him fighting this battle mostly on his own. And now, with Wanda gone, Ramir is the one carrying the weight of this story, demanding answers from one of the most powerful men in music. After Wanda's passing, custody of Ramir went to his godmother, Lily. and she refused to let the fight die there. She kept pushing for answers and demanded that Jay-Z step up and take responsibility for the boy everyone believed could be his son. But as you can probably guess, things didn't go smoothly at all. Here's the twist. Lily swears Jay-Z didn't ignore them completely. In fact, she claims he actually lifted their hopes at one point, even having his team reach out like he was finally ready to do the right thing. For a moment, it looked like Jay was about to acknowledge Ramir. And that tiny spark of hope had everyone thinking this saga was finally turning around.
Lily went public about it, saying, "I got a call from his in-house lawyer and they were very helpful. We thought we would resolve this privately. They even talked about Ramir's music talent and whether it was a good time to put him on the record label, but he had to finish high school, so I said no. That's huge. His own lawyer talking about signing Ramir."
But just as quick as it started, everything flipped. Suddenly, new lawyers jumped in, the tone changed completely, and the communication shut down. Lily believes Jay's camp panicked when they realized the bigger risk, because if Wanda was really just 16 at the time, it could drag Jay into an even deeper scandal. Plenty of people agree with Lily, saying Jay-Z's silence isn't about money or music. It's about the possibility that Wanda was underage when she got pregnant. And that's a detail Jay-Z can't afford to have resurface now. What makes it even messier? Rumors keep spreading that Ramir might not be Jay's only outside kid. Fans are pointing out how Titan, Kelly Rowland's first son, looks eerily like Jay too. The whispers are getting louder, and the resemblance is just too bold for people to ignore. Let's line this up. Kelly tied the knot with Tim Weatherspoon in 2014, and the same year, she gave birth to little Titan. Sounds picture perfect, right? But here's where it gets twisted. 2014 was also the year Solange went off on Jay-Z in that now iconic elevator fight. And to this day, nobody ever gave a real explanation for why Solange exploded while Beyonce just stood there watching. Plenty of theories have floated around, but the one catching fire right now is that Solange and Beyonce found out Jay wasn't just stepping out on Bey, he was messing with Kelly. Think about it. It's one thing to cheat, but to allegedly go after Beyonce's childhood best friend? That's way below the belt, and Solange was not having it. People believe that Elevator Beatdown was Solange snapping under the weight of it all. And of course, in classic Carter Knowles PR fashion, they rushed out a polished statement, pretending everything was fine, painting themselves as one big happy family. But nobody was buying it. The tension was written all over Beyonce's face. Fast forward 2 years later, and Bey drops a bombshell album that sent shockwaves through the culture. On Lemonade, she ripped Jay-Z apart in front of the entire world, calling him out for betrayal, humiliation, and breaking her heart. And then came that infamous line, "Becky with the good hair." That lyric alone lit the internet on fire, sparking non-stop speculation about who Becky really was. And guess whose name kept creeping into the conversation? Kelly's. The betrayal theories haven't slowed down since, and the puzzle pieces from that elevator night are starting to look a lot clearer. When it came to figuring out Becky with the good hair, fans threw out plenty of names. Rita Ora, Rachel Roy, even a few random industry faces. But the one name nobody expected to see in the mix? Kelly Rowland. And now, people are saying there are just too many coincidences to sweep under the rug. According to whispers, Solange allegedly caught wind that Kelly was pregnant and suspected Jay-Z might be the father. She supposedly walked in on something messy between Jay and Kelly, and that discovery destroyed everything. What's worse, the rumor claims Kelly didn't even show an ounce of guilt about it, which left her bond with Beyonce permanently fractured. Some believe Beyonce and Kelly kept up the sisterhood image for the cameras, all while hiding a storm behind the scenes. Because let's be real, if the reports turned out to be true, it would be humiliating on a whole new level. Imagine your childhood bestie having a baby tied to your husband. That's a betrayal nobody could spin into a positive headline. And the wildest part? Out of all the women Jay has been accused of stepping out with, actresses, models, singers, nothing would cut deeper than going after Beyonce's closest friend. That kind of move isn't just scandalous, it's brutal. Jay-Z has faced endless accusations over the years, from flings to full-blown affairs. Some even allege he keeps a whole roster of side women stashed across his favorite cities, flying them in whenever he feels like it. And remember, this isn't just speculation. There were even claims Solange once caught Jay red-handed trying to pass his number to another woman at a restaurant. No wonder the elevator scene went down the way it did. The pieces are starting to fit. The mystery woman Solange allegedly confronted. She turned out to be none other than Liv, a model and rapper who later spilled her version of events, and let me tell you, it was outrageous, Liv recalled. Solange came walking up out of nowhere. I thought I was about to get my butt whooped, so I backed off quickly. She's been guarding her sister's property since day one. Bey doesn't even have to say anything. Solange is a beast. I can't believe I dodged a whooping from Solange that day. She was a big reason why I left him alone. She gave me a look of death. Very scary.
And Liv wasn't done. She even went as far as to drop a track titled "Sorry Mrs. Carter," a not-so-subtle jab at Beyonce herself. The lyrics were dripping with shade and almost read like a public apology for messing with Jay-Z. One bar went, "Your man, he likes model chicks. He likes all naturally flawless model chicks like me." Another line claimed, "Us crossing paths was no accident. When I stepped out of his life, I took a piece of his heart. I know he still closes his eyes and sees me in the dark." That's beyond bold, basically confessing to being one of Jay's side women on wax. But Liv wasn't the only name in the mix. Jay-Z's alleged list of side chicks runs long, and Foxy Brown's name always finds its way back into the rumors. Industry whispers say Jay not only dated Foxy back in the day, but still keeps her around to this very moment, allegedly paying her bills and keeping her on the payroll. And when Foxy went on a heated rant last year, lashing out at everyone suggesting she was still tied to Jay, fans actually took that as proof. Because why would she be that mad if there wasn't at least some truth hiding underneath? The connections, the rumors, the music. It all paints the picture of Jay-Z juggling multiple women in plain sight, and Solange stepping in as Beyonce's guard dog every time things spilled too close to home. Now let's circle back to Kelly, because the whispers around her connection to Jay-Z get even messier. Rumor has it Kelly first started messing with Jay not out of love, but as revenge against Beyonce. Why? Because deep down, she was jealous of her best friend's shine. In the early days, Destiny's Child wasn't exactly the powerhouse group we remember today. Their sales were weak, they lost competitions, and even lost their first record deal. But everything flipped once Beyonce's father, Matthew Knowles, swooped in as manager. Suddenly, the group had a Columbia Records contract, and under Matthew's strict military-style guidance, the girls sharpened their voices, perfected their moves, and became stars. Meanwhile, Beyonce's mom, Tina Knowles, was just as hands-on, styling their hair, fixing their looks, even sewing stage outfits herself. It was a full-on family operation, with Beyonce at the center, while the others tried to keep up. But here's the tea. Kelly allegedly hated how overbearing Beyonce's parents were. Reports say Matthew singled her out, bullying her for being darker-skinned than the rest of the group. Some insiders even claim he would snatch Kelly's ideas and hand them off to Beyonce, acting like they were hers. That's cold! And it didn't stop there. Rumors say he'd dress Kelly down compared to the other girls, making sure she never shined too bright next to Bey. It was like he was building Beyonce into a superstar, while keeping Kelly in her shadow.
Sure, Beyonce couldn't fully control her father's moves back then, but she wasn't blind either. She and the other girls were old enough to see what was happening, and Kelly, especially, felt the sting of being pushed aside in her own group.
But here's the cold truth. Beyonce never really backed Kelly. Instead, she allegedly leaned into her father's favoritism, making it clear to Kelly and the other girls who the true star of Destiny's Child was supposed to be. And once that power dynamic was set, the cracks in their friendship started to show. Over time, the tension built, and Kelly realized staying in the group meant she'd always be in Beyonce's shadow. Once Destiny's Child eventually split, all the girls went solo, but the world had its eyes glued on just two, Beyonce and Kelly, who were seen as the most glamorous R&B stars of their generation.
But even then, Kelly's path wasn't smooth. Rumor has it Matthew Knowles wasn't done pulling strings, and this time it was sabotage. Insiders claim he deliberately blocked Kelly's deals, rerouted opportunities, and even redirected contracts meant for her straight into Beyonce's lap. That's not just favoritism, that's career blackballing. By 2013, Kelly had reached her breaking point, and she let it all out on her album Talk a Good Game. On the track, Dirty Laundry, she spilled raw emotions, admitting she felt trapped in a toxic situation, doubting her own worth, and even confessing jealousy toward Beyonce's unstoppable success. The honesty was brutal, but fans called it her most authentic work ever. Still, Beyonce's fan base couldn't ignore the deeper undertone. Kelly's words sounded like both a confession and a cry of resentment. And whispers immediately spread. Was she not just venting about her career, but also hinting about her feelings for Jay-Z? The drama didn't end with the music. The song sparked endless debates about what really went on behind the scenes of Destiny's Child and whether Kelly's jealousy was rooted in more than just fame. When fans started digging into Kelly's past, they noticed something strange. None of the men she publicly dated lined up with the mysterious, toxic lover she described in her music. And just to add fuel to the fire, one of her ex-boyfriends even stepped up and flat out denied being the man in question. That only made the whispers louder. Was Kelly hiding a secret relationship she could never speak on? The rumor mill went into overdrive, suggesting the mystery man might have been someone off limits, someone powerful, someone she could never openly claim without sparking chaos. And with Beyonce and Jay-Z constantly in the headlines, speculation started swirling that Kelly and Jay were sneaking around on the low. Now here's the bombshell. Fans claim there's actual 4K footage floating around showing Jay and Kelly together in places they shouldn't have been. If that footage really exists, it could be the smoking gun, the very thing that proves Beyonce's suspicions were right all along. And if that truth ever came out, it wouldn't just be a scandal, it would be an earthquake that shakes the entire music industry to its core. But now the real question is, do you believe it? Was Jay-Z really Kelly's hidden lover all this time? And did her jealousy of Beyonce destroy the sisterhood they once flaunted on stage? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Trust me, the next story I'm dropping will blow this one wide open, and you won't want to miss it.